Hey, lovelies. Lisa here. It's day 14 and of my tower month, and today did not feel very towery. It's just been a very lovely, sun-filled, ultimately day. Um, Went for a beautiful hike up in sort of mountainous area with lots of Doug firs, and then the sea out below, and lots of walking on the beach. And I went for a run with the dogs on the beach, which is just like bliss in heaven. um, and so, like, how is the tower showing up on a day where things feel sweet? And the answer to that question sort of emerged for me in the course of Anna, my friend Anna, and I were playing with the tarot, and I was doing a reading for her, and I brought a bunch of decks. I'd asked her to pick a deck she felt drawn to, and she picked the Tarot des Ozarks. This is the tower in that deck. And I can't remember the artist, but many of you know this deck. The backs are um, Lori LaPage or LaPage. This was, is it a Game Crafter deck? I'm trying to remember, or make playing cards. Anyway, where you sort of order it separately and it comes to you. And the imagery, her take on the Tarot de Marseille is just so incredible. Just first of all, the color palette. I mean, you guys know this deck, probably many of you. The color palette, the abstractions and sort of the kind of rough artistic style. I love this deck, and it's a deck that I actually would love to be working with more than I am. Look at that Ace of Swords. So it was cool that Anna picked it. Anna doesn't know a lot about tarot, so she didn't know, Tarot de Marseille or Wade Smith or, Crowley Harris. She didn't really know, and just picked decks that she was drawn to. So anyway, we did this reading. And in the reading, some of the themes that came up were about intimacy and dyads and sort of the foundational child relating to parent, and just those deep intimacies that form the core of who we are as grown-ups, like what we have as children. And just being with a close friend. And I feel like I've been exploring the whole question of intimacy today with Anna in all sorts of ways, talking with her about Zen Buddhism and notions of intimacy in Buddhism. So intimacy, I think, intimacy. How is the tower about intimacy? This came up a few days ago in my my reading about the power of two, or the tower and the two. Interestingly, in the Tarot des Ozarks, unlike the traditional, very traditional kind of convert, Maison Dieu tower image, there's not two figures falling from the tower. There's just the one. There's just the one, which is okay. That's interesting. But the card I drew when I did my reading for myself, relating to the daily sort of draw I do around the tower, I drew the soul, the sun, right? With its figure of two, the two children, under the brilliance of the sun. What does it mean to be fully present to another person? How do we do intimacy? I realize that there's, in my own life, like, over the course of growing and maturing, we hope, I've been, figuring out, like, how do I really be present for another person? And you work on it with your family of origin. You work on it with your spouse, partner. You work on it with your friends. You work on it with yourself. Like, what does it mean to be intimate with yourself? And I think the soul, the image of the sun, and this kind of the two children standing under the sun in that full illumination. There are no shadows. It's all illuminated. It's all bright. It's all the light. I think one of the things that's so scary about intimacy is what the extent to which we're willing to be in the light and to have ourselves vulnerable and exposed. And I guess what I'm realizing tonight is that the tower is about the ultimate vulnerability. It's about bringing ourself into the light, and how that willingness to have full light cast on our hearts, on our bodies, on our minds, on our souls, how that is what makes intimacy possible. The tower and vulnerability. And being with another person, including most profoundly our ability to be with ourselves. The other two cards I drew, because the soul was upside down, was I drew the Three of Cups, reminding me how this joining of the two, this face-to-face intimacy with another person, or even with the other person that is the self, how that really requires the nourishing of community, of, as I would say from a Buddhist perspective, of Sangha. Thinking about the Three of Cups in the Waite Smith as this kind of coming together, celebratory coming together of community. But in this depiction, it really feels like, how that communal source enables the intimate. And then, just in case I wasn't sure, is this really about dyads and people coming together and intimacy and face-to-face? The other card I drew was the Two of Diamonds, which is the same card that I drew the other night when I was thinking about the tower and two. So I keep coming back, I think, to this notion of face-to-face intimacy, of duality, of being with another, being present for another, self-other, I and thou, that connection and that vulnerability. Yeah. Okay. That's what I got. Hope that makes sense. Glad that you guys are checking in, and I'm behind on all of my commenting. I've been reading comments. I just haven't had the kind of wherewithal to sit still at the keyboard and respond with my heart to what you guys have shared. So I thank you for your patience, and know that I really appreciate you so much, and thank you for your practice.